Another, and the Republican Party continues to propagate deranged and deceitful content on their network, fueled by the grifty and bizarre posts of their cult leader, Donald Trump. It's no longer a political party, but a cult, with Trump at the helm, whining incessantly on his social media platform. His latest disinformation chant blames all problems on others, but never himself, as he clings to his malignant narcissistic attitude that he can do no wrong. Sadly, this destructive behavior is only tearing our country apart. Perhaps it is your responsibility, as you have done numerous things that have had detrimental effects on our nation. Despite this, you possess a large cult following in media and propaganda networks that seek to justify and normalize your actions. However, everything you have done has weakened our country, created a negative perception of us in the eyes of the world, degraded our national security, and eroded the very essence of what makes America unique. You seem determined to destroy it all. As an example, you recently posted a message calling the individuals in the White House morons. Who speaks like that? It's ridiculous. This is why I say the Republican Party is no longer a political party. It's essential to be a decent human being, especially in positions of leadership. I understand that some media networks don't value decency, but can you imagine anyone behaving like this in any other workplace? Insulting and belittling others, claiming they can't get a job anywhere else in America, and acting like a deranged maniac is unacceptable behavior. It seems that the only place such behavior is normalized is within the Republican Party. Donald Trump recently made a post on social media referring to the individuals in the White House as morons who are deliberately destroying our country. According to Trump, they are playing a new game of disinformation, blaming him for their incompetence in Afghanistan. He claims to have witnessed the disaster unfold like everyone else, seeing them prioritize evacuating civilians instead of the military, leaving behind billions of dollars of military equipment and endangering the lives of American soldiers. Trump places the responsibility for this situation solely on President Biden, stating that he is the one accountable for the situation. When reading something like this, it is infuriating. How dare you? You, the one who struck a deal with the Taliban and signed the surrender document. You released 5,000 Taliban prisoners and had Mike Pompeo publicly supporting the Taliban, even inviting them to visit the United States. It is hypocritical to blame others for the outcome of your own actions. You, not anyone else, were the one who freed 5,000 Taliban prisoners, including their entire leadership. You didn't follow the timeline recommended by the military, nor did you coordinate with the existing Afghan government. You acted unilaterally. You allowed Mike Pompeo to let the Taliban go, benefiting none other than Vladimir Putin, which is unsurprising. The deal you cut after releasing Taliban prisoners has ultimately led to this outcome. In my opinion, President Biden handled the situation as well as anyone could have. He had the courage to bring our troops home, which is the opposite of what you did. You signed documents, released terrorists, and then refused to take responsibility for the consequences. That is not leadership, it is cowardice. Your behavior is entirely unacceptable and disgusts me. Trump then proceeds to criticize Fox News for using fake polls from CNN, which he claims are unreliable, despite his own history of spreading false information. In my opinion, President Biden handled the situation as well as anyone could have. He had the courage to bring our troops home, which is the opposite of what you did. You signed documents, released terrorists, and then refused to take responsibility for the consequences. That is not leadership, it is cowardice. Your behavior is entirely unacceptable and disgusts me. Trump then proceeds to criticize Fox News for using fake polls from CNN, which he claims are unreliable, despite his own history of spreading false information. Trump claimed to be leading by a considerable margin, but his lead was not as significant as other polls indicated. He also stated that he was leading Biden by 9 points and leading in Social Security cuts by 35 points. These statements are deceitful and absurd. Who speaks like this? Trump then mentioned that his campaign is receiving numerous job requests from individuals currently working for Social Security and Medicare, which seems unlikely. He then comments on a poll, stating that Ron's numbers are dropping quickly, which is not surprising given the deceitful and manipulative behavior of the Trump administration. Many individuals are speculating that Ron may not even run for office again, given his recent hiring of Jeff Rowe, who has been referred to as the kiss of death after he dropped young Kim. While Ron hopes that Roe can help him, it's more likely that Roe will only hurt his campaign. Trump then boasts about leading in various states, such as Texas by 42 points and Iowa and New Hampshire by a considerable margin. However, these claims are unsubstantiated and may not be reliable. Trump also alleges that he is leading against Joe Biden by 10 points, which is false. Unfortunately, some media outlets, such as SanDisk, propagate these lies without fact-checking them. Donald Trump claims that the United States is rapidly losing ground, and under the current administration, we may not even have a country left. He believes that we are facing an invasion at our borders, the potential loss of our dollar as the world standard, and the risk of entering World War III due to incompetence. Trump projects his own behavior, accusing others of cheating in elections, disinformation campaigns, and weaponizing the justice system. He believes that we are a failing nation in decline. Additionally, he is promoting t-shirts with a fake mugshot of himself, falsely claiming he is 6'5" and not guilty. He is using this grift to solicit contributions, attempting to show strength despite his baseless accusations. We should not donate to Donald Trump because he is a complete and utter malignant narcissist who is not fit to hold any position of power. It is clear that his actions and words are all about personal gain and self-promotion, and he cannot be trusted to make decisions about our families, health, and safety. It is truly sickening that the Republicans continue to support him despite his obvious flaws. In contrast, Joe Biden is focused on the issues that matter to the American people, as evidenced by his comments on today's jobs report. We can approach the economic challenges we face from a position of strength, given that the economy added 236,000 jobs last month and the unemployment rate is at 3.5%. My economic agenda has been instrumental in driving a historic economic recovery. Meanwhile, most Americans want lawmakers to implement common-sense gun safety reforms that will save lives, but Republican officials across America are instead pushing dangerous bills that make our schools, places of worship, and communities less safe. As a result, our children are paying the price. This was the reality a year ago, and unfortunately, it still persists today. Today, we celebrated the historic confirmation of Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson to the United States Supreme Court. She's the first black woman to serve as a Supreme Court justice, and has brought unwavering integrity, a strong moral compass, and courage to her role. These are all qualities that Donald Trump lacks, but that we desperately need in our leaders in order to promote decency and humanity. Another post from Joe Biden discusses the success of our plan to invest in America. Across the country, we have created a record-breaking 12.4 million new jobs, including 800,000 manufacturing jobs, since taking office. This means that we have created more jobs in just 2 years than any president has in 4. In this post, Biden also addresses the failure of trickle-down economics and emphasizes that he will not allow mega-Republicans to undo the progress we have made. Additionally, he shares a video in which he makes this commitment. I will not stand idly by while our Republican friends push for a clean energy future that would make us dependent on overseas supply chains, export jobs overseas, and weaken our energy security. Under my watch, we have made significant progress towards a sustainable and self-sufficient energy future, and I will not let their short-sighted agenda jeopardize our progress. Unfortunately, the Megan Republicans in Congress are also seeking to cut the CHIPS and Science Act, which would strip our investments in the next generation of science and technology, from biomanufacturing to quantum computing. We cannot afford to let them take away these vital resources. We must fight to keep them. I will not allow the future of innovation and technology to be ceded to China, and I have a message for my Republican friends: not on my watch, not online. We have made too much progress to let them undo it. President Biden has stated that Congress passed the assault weapons ban, and he emphasizes the moral price to pay for inaction. We cannot afford to sit idly by and watch as our progress is undone. We must continue to fight for a better future. Last year, Congress came together in a bipartisan effort to pass the most significant gun safety legislation in 30 years. This shows that we can do more together, and I am calling on Congress to once again pass the assault weapons ban. This is not a partisan issue, it is a common sense issue that we must address urgently. Additionally, President Biden highlights that we have made tremendous progress in our economic recovery, passing the most aggressive economic recovery since President Franklin D. Roosevelt, and making the most substantial infrastructure investment since President Eisenhower's interstate highway